Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Robertini podcast, and it brings me great pleasure today to say that Norwich City are going back up to the Premier League. Yes, welcome back to the Robertini podcast, and I will be releasing this video when we get promoted. Today is Saturday, the 17th of April 2020, and it is now 10:27 a.m. Tonight we will play Bournemouth. A win means promotion. We might have even gained it before then if Brentford and Swansea lose their games. But one thing's for sure, when you are watching this, we would have been promoted. And today we'll be wrapping up what has been a truly thrilling season. And with me to do this is our guest. Now, we are luckily enough joined here today by the lad who co-owns a wonderful society on Twitter, who also has a group chat of around 40 people, one that includes both Chris Reeve and Jack Reeve, creators of Talk Norwich City, of course, and a certain Cuban winger who goes by the name of Onel Hernandez. It's Jacob, known as JT on Twitter, who has a podcast of his own, Nought to 90. We'll be leaving that link in the description down below. But Jacob, welcome, mate. How are you today? You right?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling positive for today. Obviously, just to explain real quickly then about your podcast, Nought to 90. What's the podcast about?
So basically, I love football and I love Formula One, so I just spend my time on that podcast talking to people from both of those sporting worlds, really, and anyone who I can get who's got an interesting story.
Yeah, nice one, yeah. And like I said, link down below in the description. Be sure to click on that after you've watched this podcast today. Brilliant stuff. So today we will be releasing this podcast. This will either be after we get when we get promoted. So I don't really know when this is going to be released as of yet, but I'm hoping it to be Sunday the 18th of April. So pretty much after we beat Bournemouth, or of course if Swansea or Brentford drop points today and don't win. And real quickly, mate, what a season it has been.
Unbelievable. I mean, obviously we haven't been able to go to the games this year, but they've provided us with lots of entertainment, even though we couldn't be there, sadly.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's been like I've loved every minute of it, but you definitely would be more thrilled and excited with just seeing it in person and obviously living like a proper atmosphere of a football ground, especially Carrow Road. Did you ever think it was going to be? It hasn't been easy in a way, but did you ever think it was going to be this kind of simple to get back up?
That's a good question, really, because obviously we managed to keep our best players and all our good assets, and we invested really well, especially defensively. And some would argue that the quality of the Championship this year is not as good as it has been, which I can partially agree with, really. So I wouldn't say I was in doubt, but obviously nothing's a given, especially with the Championship.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely. I found it to be that more teams have kind of haunted us this season. Like a lot of teams have played all out from the back and pushed those players back into the defence, and we've struggled in that way of breaking down goals, but we've also then actually being able to score them as well. But it's definitely been a bit of a surprise, really. I was going to say how I felt it. I felt this from myself. But how important has it been to keep players like Todd Cantwell and Boondir, but also to sell players like Godfrey and Lewis to prepare us for next season, to also give us some funds for this season to bring in players like Giannoulis and Oliver Skip on loan. How much of it has an importance of that been?
Well, it's really been paramount to our success, really, because you got Buendia. I don't care what anyone really says, but next year, as soon as he goes up, his price tag for me is 50 million. He's the best player in this league by far, I think, and without him, we wouldn't have stayed up. And we've sold players like Lewis, who I like the lad, but hasn't gone on to bigger things as of yet. And Godfrey, obviously, he's doing fantastic, but we've taken that money, about 25 million, and we've invested it. Gibson, he's a solid centre back, definitely Premier League standard, and he's helped us be so good in defence this season, which is really key to our success this year.
Yeah, I felt Gibson's been like one of those star out players, and I want him in the Premier League next season. I believe he's played a certain amount of games, which the contract required him to be a Norwich City player. Now that's what Burnley wanted him to play, like a certain amount of games, so he will be one of ours. And I also think like we've improved in some ways as well. So when we bought in Giannolis, I didn't think he was going to be that great, but he's actually he's looked really good. Like he's looked really threatening in the attack, and I think in a way has looked more threatening than Jamal Lewis did.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely got more going for him attacking wise. I'm not sure I'm fully convinced of him yet, but he's only played like 10 odd games, so he's got a lot to learn, especially in a different country. But I'm sure he'll be a good signing next year. And I also kind of want to shout out Javi Quintilla as well, because I think he was pretty good at the start of the season, and obviously he got replaced and he's just been kind of sitting on the bench and stuff. But I did think he's still a very good left back as well.
Yeah, for sure. I wish him all the best. I mean, I remember seeing him because he started in that first game of the season against Huddersfield, and all he was he was great player that day, but all he was doing for me was that caught my eye was his crossing ability, and I thought with bringing in Hugo as well, I thought that might actually work brilliantly. Before I knew Pookie was going to have a fire season, of course. But talking about the squad though, who for you has been the most important player of the season for us though?
Well, it has to be Buendia, to be honest, because that man can win a game by himself. There's been some standout players, but I just don't think anyone in this team, and as I said, in this league, is really at that level. He's just phenomenal.
Yeah, he literally is a different kind of breed. I think that the stats show it as well. Like I think when he had that injury crisis, no, actually, I believe he was suspended, wasn't he, from that Swansea game which we lost. The most recent one, and I remember Sky showed his stats after the game, saying how much of an important player he was to us. I'd definitely go for Buendia. But just to quickly rewind people as well, to let people know, the society that I will mention Josh and Jacob on Twitter that I've made is the LRAS Society, basically an acronym for the Lucas Rupp Appreciation Society, the biggest society on Twitter goes, no cap. We have to mention though, this brings me on to a question that I've got. How brilliant Lucas Rupp has looked this season.
Yeah, I think he's looked really good. Obviously, he hasn't played that much, but I mean, when we started this little thing, I would say it's a bit jokey, but we're in the Prem, and we bought Lucas Rupp. He cost 750,000, I believe, and Farker was playing him out of position, and he wasn't looking fantastic.
No.
But that's fair enough. Not every player can play. Like he's a centre midfielder playing right mid. That's not where he plays, and you can't not all players can adapt that easily. But I think when he's been called upon this year, he's been really solid. McLean, like all the centre midfielders this year being really, really good. So I think it'll be, even if we get Skip or we don't get Skip, I think it will be a good battle to see who plays centre mid week in, week out, really.
Yeah, I think that, and I was thinking to myself, what players have improved compared to last season, and I know we didn't see Lucas Rupp a lot last season in the second half of the season. Obviously, he arrived January 2020 from Hoffenheim, but I felt he was one of the players who did improve quite a lot, and it kind of poses the question for me, with his contract expiring the end of next season, of course. So how do you think he'll do in the second round of the Premier League next season then?
Well, I think he'll have a similar role to he had this season. Sadly for me, I don't see him starting too many games,
No, I know.
but he's proved himself as a pretty good rotational player, so I don't see why he couldn't do a solid job this season coming really.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna talk about signs in a bit, but I've just thought with because I don't know with because I know Oliver Skip is he's been exceptional, by the way. He's another player to mention to this brilliant season, but he's obviously a Tottenham boy through and through. He's not going to leave Tottenham, and to be fair, I don't blame him in a way because of the wage he's getting there will be obviously extremely much higher than the one we're offering him. But if we don't get him next season, I don't know if that's a big problem for us.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be a bit unpopular, but I think Jacob Lungi Sorensen is an absolute worldie of a player, to be fair. And when he's played centre mid, I think most games when he's played in centre mid, he's looked as good, to be fair, as Skip. Obviously, he had a lot of the season playing at left back, which he was pretty exceptional considering that's nowhere near his position.
Yeah.
So I think there's actually been times this season where I've been calling for us to play, Sorensen instead of Skip, because after this season we're not going to have Skip, but we'll have Sorensen, and he's our player, so we might as well develop him ourselves instead of developing Skip for Tottenham. And I think he probably should have played a bit more this season, but I think he could do very well next season.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, yeah, like you said, he's ours, Sorensen, and we need to show that, don't we? Really, and still at a young age, isn't he? As well, was he 20, 21?
Yeah, like 22, I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, and yeah, when he did play left back, I thought he was in some weeks of the Championship, he was looking like the best left back out of the whole entire amount of teams in the Championship, and like you said, that's not even his natural position, which is crazy. Yeah, but go back to Lucas Schripp though. I thought his best game of the season was that Birmingham game at the start of the season. And I know for a fact a mate of mine. I'll go on his channel now and then. Shout out to Posted by Callum. He loves this stat, and it's basically Rip made 107 completed passes in that Birmingham game back in October, which is actually to date the player with the most completed passes this season by any other player in our squad, which is phenomenal. Get this as well. I don't know if you saw this tweet on the timeline at the weekend, but Birmingham beat Stoke 2-0, and there were 226 completed passes in the whole entire game, and the winners Birmingham made 77. 30 passes less than Lucas Schripp himself compared to that game in Birmingham. So it's crazy how there's a different kind of quality between us and other teams in the Championship. It's without a doubt noticeable. So for me, what a standout game that has been for himself this season. And I was going to say, has there been any games that you've looked at this season and said to yourself, certain players have had a belter of a game? So one for me that comes to mind is Todd Cantwell. I feel one of his best games was that 2-1 win over Cardiff back in January. He obviously scored the winning goal. It was a brilliant goal as well. And he ran his heart and soul out that day, and that put us 7 points clear. But I don't know if you have any kind of standout performances this season by any other players.
Well, I'll continue talking about Todd Cantwell for a second, because I feel like he's a player. He's got a lot of promise. He's had a lot of standout performances this year, and I think he's probably got us quite a lot of points because of that. But the only thing that I think with him is he could definitely be a bit more consistent. It seems like he has like a standout performance, and then he goes a few games where he's not at the top of his game, but he's still a solid player.
Yeah.
And then you wait a few games, then he has a standout performance again. I mean, I can't really pinpoint a game in particular, but I think Hanley, he's just been absolutely solid this season.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, he's just so many of our players have had so many good games that it's kind of hard to pinpoint certain games in particular, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely for sure. It's, I think Hanley's recent game against Derby, I felt he was crucial in that one. Like, I remember Norwich. Obviously, they always put the tweet out at the end, like who's the man of match. Oliver Skipp always wins because obviously all the Tottenham brigade come over and vote on it. But yeah, I was definitely wanting Hanley to win that one because pick up on him. Yeah, I going back to Todd though. I think Cantwell plays. I thought he played better in the Premier League than he does in the Championship. Because I was having this discussion with Callum the other day on his channel, but I was saying like, so obviously we were saying how he didn't really get much game time in the Championship, and then he goes up, we go up to the Premier League and he starts and he's straight away he's brilliantly, like as in like he's performing brilliantly against Man City and Chelsea, these top 6 clubs. I don't know about you, but.
No, I know exactly what you mean there. I think I was at Derby away in like 2018 or something, which is his first season after he come back from playing on loan in Holland, I think.
Yeah.
And he, I think it was a Derby game. It might have been a different game, but I was at a game and he was an absolute sitter. And I was watching the game. I was like to my mate, I was just like, he's not that great, is he? I don't think he's done too much, but he came in the Prem. It was pretty amazing. Especially obviously those Man City game that you mentioned. I don't know, it must just favour him. It's probably the Premier League's a little bit less physical, suits him. He can kind of, I don't know, he can express himself a bit more in the way he plays, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's just weird how some players, you go to the Championship and some players don't even suit their league, and then they go to the Premier League and they completely get it 100%, you know. It's crazy to think that. Going back to the like you said at the start, it's been a bit of a shame, obviously not going this season with things going on. You're a season ticket holder, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. How mental and how important as well will it be next season for us to be in that ground, that first game back, actually having Premier League football, which we didn't think our first game back was going to be. That place will be beaming.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you just look back to last season, when we were back in the Prem and we had those games against like Newcastle, the sun was shining.
Yes.
You had the sea of everyone wearing their Norwich tops. It was just incredible atmosphere, and I'm really glad that we're going to have that back soon. But I think the players have done an exceptional job this season, considering the circumstances, because it seemed like when we were in the Prem, the players did thrive on the atmosphere and having a good fan base around them. So to, come back up, probably as champions, but definitely coming back up, I think it's pretty good considering, there's not had anyone there. Obviously, no one else has had people there, but it just seems like something that our team is quite dependent on.
Like you said, it's definitely some teams are dependent on that atmosphere. Like you get your Man Cities who are like naturally brilliant without, well, they don't, I don't know if they'd class themselves to even have fans, but you know what I mean. So they probably don't even like this hasn't obviously been an effect, only Banner of course, but I think it is crucial though sometimes to have fans, and like this is going back like within a year now, but that semi-final against Man United last season, quarterfinals, sorry, against Man United in the FA Cup, I felt if we had fans that day, the result would have been different. Like Man United were good, but definitely, if we just got on back of the players with the support, it would have been something else.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's the same FA Cup as the one we beat Spurs, isn't it? So when I was at that game, and I think there's 9,000 Norwich fans there, and the atmosphere was just like incredible. And when you're sitting in extra time, like we were, and you're trying to just get through to penalties, the support of your fans is really important. And you had that in the Man United game, where if you had the fans there, it just gives them they didn't need much, I don't think, in that game, but you just give them the little push that they need. And, we could have been in, like, Final Four of the FA Cup.
That would have been crazy. Yeah, how mental would that be? And then Wembley as well. Like even if you don't get to the final, like, semi-finals going to the Wembley as well is absolutely mental. And, excuse me, I've always felt that, I I was going to make a video on it, but I look like a sad Norwich fans speaking about this. But I've always felt that because obviously before the Spurs game, after the Spurs game, and we then played one more league game, which was, I believe, I can't remember who it was against now, but and then obviously lockdown happened and what have you, and football got cancelled. But I felt it was a good run that we were about to start, after the Spurs game, and something maybe could have happened where we could have escaped the relegation.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we didn't have a great season last season, but I'm sure there's many opportunities where we could have definitely got more than the 21 points that we got last season. And yeah, with the fans and everything. I mean, we beat Leicester as well, didn't we? Whilst the fans were still there. So, who knows what could have happened? But I'm just glad. Well, hopefully everyone's going to come back soon.
Yeah, I think
they
it.
Let us.
Yeah, that's it. I think it will. I saw, it's going off topic a bit, but I saw something random on Instagram today, people at the Norfolk Showground on a fun fair kind of stuff. I don't know what that's about, but I swear more events are happening now, which must mean football's coming back where we can go again. But yeah, in a way though, I am kind of glad we went down in the Championship because especially in January, January 2020, when we made signings like Rip and I know we bought Melvin City in, didn't we, as well? But obviously loaned him back and but they were kind of Championship-esque signings, and obviously it's proved that with Rip performing so well in that league. But now that we've gone down, we've been able to get the more kind of we've been able to keep back funds that we could have perhaps spent in the Premier League, but the club were wise enough not to because they felt a second time would come back up, a bounce back, which it has hopefully confirmed today. But it brings me on to us having more money. It's been reported by the club, Daniel Farker, saying we will be kind of having that more higher transfer budget this time. What upcoming signings would you like to see that Norwich need to make? Because I feel that there is a few.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough one because how much has Norwich spent most in the transfer window? Probably Ricky Van Wolfswinkel or Naismith, 10 to 15 million. I think Closer was up there, 10 million. I believe Gibson, because we're obligated to buy him, I believe that's about 7 million.
Yeah.
And Giannoulis is also about 6, I think. So
that's a lot already for us.
I think as soon as you go up, you've already spent 13 million. So, no Norwich, who've not probably spent much more than that, or, not spent that much in the transfer window before, I think it's going to be difficult to, get the players that Norwich fans want, because obviously Norwich fans want to sign these players, but it's just, you've got to understand the long-term project being a Norwich fan, which I think can be frustrating at times. I'd love us to sign another striker. I think Cookie was great in the Prem last season, and I think Hugo could definitely do a job. But, a different style of player would be nice.
Yeah.
In different games and different scenarios. But I don't know. I don't see us spending too much money apart from buying the players that we've had this year that we're obligated to sign. I'd obviously love us to throw in all our money and try and get Skip or somebody, but
oh yes,
there's a chance we could get him back on loan, but we'll see.
I feel it's a question of looking at our squad and kind of going who is Premier League quality. I hope Hugo does. I'm very questionable on Hugo, and that's only because Pookie's been so well and he hasn't had the game time, so I haven't really seen him that much. But I do often ask myself, is he Premier League quality? And we do need to find that out. But I feel there's a way that we can perhaps be smart in our signings in a way so I've seen Palace do. I mentioned this on Callum's as well, but I've seen Palace do stuff like get Gary Cahill on a free, and that to me okay, he isn't the best player in the world, but I feel perhaps maybe sharpening up a fullback position would be great as well. Centre half position, but also players like Gary Cahill, who's a Champions League winner, FA Cup winner, that would do wonders for us because he's such an older player, and that reflects nicely for the youngsters in the squad, and it creates a good morale there.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Obviously, I'm not going to compare Dermich and Gary Cahill, but it would be the similar transfer where you get someone on a free transfer and then you pay him I don't know. I feel like Dermot was on like 50k a week or something,
I think he
and
was, yeah, sadly.
it kind of cancels itself out that you haven't paid any money for him, but you're paying a lot on the wages. I think it can definitely be beneficial, but you've got to have someone who actually wants to be here, and you want them to buy into the philosophy that we have here. And obviously, I love Tetty, but obviously his career is nothing on like Cahill. But I feel like does his contract run out this year or next year? I can't remember.
I believe it's this year, Tessie. Yeah.
I honestly feel like we should keep him. I think he does a lot for morale around the squad, and I think you slowly integrate him into a more coaching role because I'd love to see Tetty at the club for years to come. To be honest.
Yeah, I'd definitely go with that, and I'd love him to get his badges, become a coach there, and yeah, he he's obviously really fond and knows the club well. What was he been? He's probably been promoted with us like 4 times now, hasn't it? When it happens,
something ridiculous.
Yeah. I was another player who I thought who perhaps like this could easily happen was Maitland-Niles. Now he's on loan to West Brom right now, but say if they go down, obviously his loan will then end, and Arsenal will then kind of go, well, what do we do here? And if we get a player like him on loan, and they look at their rivals Spurs and go, well, they've had Oliver Skipp on loan and they've kind of transformed in. I don't know about Maitland-Niles. He could kind of give us some structure there.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because you want the best players for your team. You want to stay up and all of that, but you also don't want a big team like, well, a mid-table team like Arsenal coming in and saying this is the demands. He must play this amount of games. Blah 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 blah. When it's Norwich here. It's not. We don't want to become a team that takes other people's players and then develops them, and then we obviously don't reap the rewards of that. I'd much rather see, I don't know, promotion within or just permanent transfers of players, because I feel like, I don't know, the loan market can be not, it's not loyalty there.
No, I fully get what you mean. Yeah, it's like, well, it's like Skip right now. It's because players get used to that commitment, if you get what I mean. So like, take a player like Max Aarons, for instance. He'll join the attack when Norwich pace up the field, try and get a cross in, maybe even go into the box and get into that final third and score himself. But say if the players win it back, Oliver Skipp has always been there that season where he's tracked back to that right back position, filled in for Max, and then more or less a lot of the time won the ball back and regained the possession back for us. That's key, and over time players get used to that kind of commitment, and then you bring a player in like say if we get Maitland-Niles and he's a complete flop. I personally do think he's more of a attacking player than defensive, but obviously can play in that similar position. And say if Maitland-Niles comes in and they kind of expect that same commitment from what Skipper's done, they perhaps might not get it. And that does come down to like what you said, the loyalty at the club. 100%. I also feel there's a couple players who I quite interested in. If they don't go up, perhaps we can get them up because they are Premier League quality.
Yeah, definitely.
Elise from Reading.
100%.
Mateus. I think this one's an unpopular opinion, but Mateus Jensen from Brentford's in midfield. He's been good. And I think he's another Danish player as well. So he'll go a nice little green link there for Sorensen, But 2 players I'd like to see at Carrow Road are them. We have to. I mentioned him earlier, but I'm mentioning with Oliver Skipp, how vital has he been this season? And I feel like there's an important message here to other clubs that if you put these players on loan to us, we will transform them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Norwich. I've been going to games for the last 10 years now, so I think we've had a good and bad relationship with the loan market. Obviously, we've had some solid players come in. You got players like, I saw a tweet yesterday by Danny Pacheco, and he still adores the club, but he was only here for like a season.
Yeah.
So I think if you hit the balance correctly, it can definitely go on your favour. But I think we've also, last time when we came up, we're like, well, we haven't got much money, so we're just going to get loads of people on loan. And it definitely didn't work out. Like, I like Amadou, but I'm not sure he was the correct fit for our team.
No.
And I can't remember who else, but was Patrick Roberts Premier League?
He was he was Premier League. He was on loan, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Another one was what's his name? It's gonna really annoy me now. Not Dermich, but he played in a position like him. He was on Duda, Andre Duda. That's it.
Oh, Duda, yeah. I mean, I'll look at Patrick Roberts and you go, you can't just pick a player and go, oh, Man City, and he wasn't good enough for our team at all. And Duda, I mean, he was all right, but he wasn't really great, and they're not necessarily the areas that we need strengthening. So I think we really need to look hard before we get anyone on loan, as to whether they fit the philosophy of our club, and will they integrate properly, and are they here for the right reasons?
Yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head there. It's about knowing if they will fit in well, and it's also like this. I've mentioned this before. I don't think this gets said enough, but it's. I've done a few away days, and you do definitely see the kind of difference as to how far Norfolk is out, and for them to also sign for Norwich, that means a massive move to like a different kind of culture and lifestyle here.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to. I'm not sure where Skip grew up. Obviously, he's been living in London for the last few years or his whole life. I don't really know, but it's definitely a culture shock probably for a lot of players, and players come from abroad, because you think they're playing in England, you probably think of playing in up north in one of the clubs. So many clubs around there, or in London, but you don't. We're like 2 hours away on the train from London. We're our own little section, kind of cut off from the rest of England. So it's definitely. I think some players do struggle to adapt to it, but then you've got to want to thrive, and I don't think all loan players coming here have the correct mindset. And that results in them not really having a good time here.
Yeah, definitely. Joint kind of what is it? It's I felt now we are when we do get that promotion. Is it time to invest as a club to stop this label? Because I've seen this a lot on Twitter this week as well. To stop being labelled as a yo-yo club. Is it now time to really prove that and invest?
Oh, it's such. It's it's a £1 million question. It's just such a hard line, because Norwich has done some incredible things since Webber have come in. I think we needed a promotion. We got it a year early. We were all happy. We took the money. We no debts anymore. We've got the Nest, which is amazing, and we're just really invested in the facilities around our club. I think promote the yo-yo cycle. Obviously, it keeps us having the most money we can, which is really important. But it would be nice to see us established as a team. But I just don't think that Webber or anyone at the club will be throwing in the funds that these teams, because didn't Leeds spend like 100 million, Villa spent like over 100 million. We can't compete with that. If we can stay up with our small budget, then I think it's amazing. But I think Norwich fans, for the next few years, we've got owners that have got less money than like League One teams. So you've got the balance. It's just finding the balance, because you might get an owner with more money, but you never get someone that's committed to the club like Delia. So I don't know. It's just impossible to decide what to do.
Yeah, because I always look at Leicester's ownership, because they've got the perfect of the two, where they've got the funds, and the actual owners are fully passionate for Leicester City, and how amazing would that be if we did have the funds?
Yeah, obviously they're fantastic owners, but you've got to look at a lot of teams.
West Ham,
Newcastle, Sunderland. Our lovely neighbours, Ipswich. If you get an owner, it doesn't matter how much money he has. If he's not got the right interests, then it won't work out for you. So it's really, it's a really hard question to answer, I think.
Yeah, and I this is like other talks. I don't know if this is officially true, but I heard, I think this was like a year ago. Someone was telling me that Dealey is thinking of keeping it in the Smith kind of family, to give the club down to her nieces and nephews. I don't know if they would. I don't think they do as well, but I think the passion would still be there, which is good that she's looking out for.
Yeah, I think there is someone, I can't remember who it is, but there is one of that family, working at a high level in the club at the moment. And I think as long as their interests stay where they should be, then, we're in the right place. I think Stuart Webber, he's probably not going to be here for too much longer, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's like, if we can just keep getting that sporting director, it's just like completely changed our club. So I think if we can continue to have people like him, I'm sure he'll recommend someone amazing to take his position. And as long as we can keep that culture within the club, then we'll be all right.
Yeah, we've got to mention. Weber has been class. Honestly, I've that man has done wonders for our club, and it's because I do think he will leave this time next year. His contract expires with Daniels, and I think his next move is to Germany, because I think he does love he loves Germany itself. So he wants a German club to be a sporting director there. That's fair enough. But thank you for everything he's done, and it's been a bit of a shame to obviously see him go from our place. But with Daniel on the other hand, everything's questionable for him. He can either obviously sign on another one or move away. And hopefully, I beg he signs on, because he's been one of the best Norwich managers I've seen in my lifetime, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
Overall, just to wrap up that with the yo-yo club kind of thing, I feel that level of pressure has increased on going up this time round compared to last time round, because in terms of being that established Premier League club which we want, we need to be able to stand out and appeal enough to the players, especially like the key ones. So Todd Cantwell, Buendia, Max Aarons, they went up last time with clubs not even putting them in the spotlight in terms of having them as a player, because they didn't think. Mm-hmm. I don't think they thought they would do obviously perform this higher quality, but they actually did. Obviously surprised loads of other clubs, and there's been loads of rumours since then. How important is it to stay up this time round in terms of keeping that whole squad?
Well, I see your point, but I actually don't. I would love to stay up, and I think it is, something we should really strive to do. But I don't think it's actually as important, in order to save those players, because I think, sadly, a sad thing what a lot of Norwich fans are going to have to realise soon. I think this time next year, whatever happens, a lot of our players are going to go. I think Buendia, he stayed. He helped us get back up. I think if we stay up, then he'll be like, I've done my job. I'm going to go to a big club now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a top 6. I'm going to go to Atletico. I'm going to go, somewhere like that. And if we get relegated, then obviously, he'll be like 24, 25 then. He should definitely leave if we're going to go down again. You've got Cantwell. I think he probably sees himself at another club, and I think the same with Max Aarons. He's obviously been linked with Everton, but I don't think they're going to pay the money that we want this summer. Yeah. But I think if he puts in a good round of performances this season, then he'll go for a nice fee, whatever happens, even if we get relegated. Because Stuart Webber, he won't be taken for a mug. He will definitely sell his players at the most that he can get from.
Yeah, that's it, and like you said, the not being in debt anymore, that gives us freedom to like just be really arseholes to other clubs and be like, you have to pay this certain fee now to get our players.
I don't even think it's being an arsehole. I think it's a lot of these big teams.
I phrase it like
you look at the fans on Twitter though.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I think the delusion from like the top of teams all the way down to the fans, like these Arsenal fans, we're going to sign Buendia for 20 million. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Like what? You're not going to sign him for that money.
Just
because you think you're a big club or whatever, you're not going to sign him. I think, it's the same with like Zaha for Palace, there was it 80 million they valued him at. That doesn't matter because that's how much they value him at, and that's how much they'll sell him for because he's an important player for them. So if you're not going to pay up, then he's not going to, he's staying.
Yeah. That is rightly so. Because we don't want to get mugged off, do we? At the end of the day, and that's the thing. With especially how important these players are.
I think you've also you've also got to look at players like Buendia. Yeah. We signed him. I don't know, not a lot of money, but we developed that player from his level up until the quality he is now. So you can't, you can't be taken for a mug. It's not like, I don't know, we sign Dwight Gale this season and he scores 25 goals and we make a couple of million profit on him. It's like we've had this player for many years and we've developed him, so we should get a fair price whatever happens for him.
Yeah, that's true. Especially like Max Aarons as well. Cantwell, obviously, all kind of came from academy level, and they are ours. They're one of our own, and we've developed them. It's like clubs before, and in a way, I hope there is. I hope we kind of go for a sell-on fee for some of these transfers. So say like a player like Cantwell goes to somewhere like Everton, let's say, and then somewhere down the line later on, Chelsea like the look of him, they go for him, and they pay massive money. That needs to roll down to us because we were the original creators, I guess that's how I'll label it. So that's key.
Definitely.
There's definitely. I actually thought going back to Buendia, I actually thought he was going to leave in January as well for Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if any club was serious in signing him, they would have known about him when we got relegated. And I think you probably could have got him for about 25-30 million last summer. But now, he's going to command a big premium, about 50 million, I think, just because, as I was saying about Zaha, it's about what Norwich value him at. Who are you gonna buy to replace Buendia?
So hard. No one, if anything.
It's an impossible question. So
and there was I had a bit of a surprise with in the summer, the one just gone, how we did keep a lot of these players. Like I Cantwell going to Leeds, that looked pretty much settled. I thought that was going to happen, especially his kind of attitude. Cantwell's in a way wasn't as best as it was or could have been at Norwich too. Aarons with Everton, that's kind of been a bit mixed in a way too. I don't think they'll pay up really. Now going on the kind of rest of the squad, what players come the end of the season do you see as Premier League quality as well? Because I do feel there's a threat in a way of to say that we might come down is that there's a lot of Championship level players in there, and that being it at the highest.
Definitely. I think we've got to avoid being complacent and sentimental, really. I feel like there are some players that have helped us a lot this season, but just aren't good enough for the Premier League. So, I mean, if you look for our squad, you've got Krul. I think he's definitely Premier League quality. I think he can easily do a job for probably top 10 club, really. I think getting him was amazing. If we go left backs, I think Giannoulis is a solid player, but I think only time will tell really if he will be, he'll reach his peak level in the Prem, because I'm not fully convinced at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got the centre backs of, let's say, Gibson and Hanley. I think Gibson, obviously, he's up there. He's definitely Premier League standard. He was, he's at Burnley in the Premier League. But I don't know if this is controversial, but I feel like I really rate Hanley in the Championship, but I'm just not sure if that fully converts to the Prem, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I fully get you there, because I was saying to someone at work the other day, if Newcastle stay up next season and they have St. Maximin, a player like St. Maximin's got to do rings around Hanley, surely.
Yeah, I think it suits you when you're in the Championship and you're the ones attacking all the time, but when you've got to defend all the time, then it's definitely not as easy for him to shine. And Yeah, I just don't know about. I just don't know.
No, it's good. It's good to think of, and we need. Well, the club itself need to think about this, But there was a player like Godfrey suited it, and he does suit it now, doesn't he? That's why Everton re-signed him. To be
Yeah,
fully switched on 90 minutes, and to also know that in that 90 minutes, as you mentioned, it won't be attack, attack, attack. A lot of time, it will be a defend, especially against the top six clubs.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
And I hope they're really looking at that, to be honest, because
yeah.
it's just a tough one. But I like Omobama Deli. I think he's looked really
Oh,
good,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
you cannot go. He's ready for the Premier League or even for the Championship
Mm.
after he's played 2 games or whatever in the people that are top of the league by 8 points. That is just not a fair test of a player. So I get the hype, and I'm kind of on the hype train, but I think it's really too early to tell with him.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I hope he's a bit like a Godfrey, where come on next season,
Hmm.
because when that first home game against Newcastle, I thought Godfrey played phenomenally well. I remember there was a moment as well where I mean this player wasn't that great last or like since he joined the Premier League, but Joe Linton was running on the attack, and this is point proven as for why Hanley might just be only championship quality. But he was on Hanley's side. Hanley couldn't keep up with him. Godfrey literally outpaced Hanley and Joe Linton, considering this wasn't his side of the defence, and then put a nice little tackle in to win the ball back. And in a
Yeah.
way, I favour like how we've sold him. It gives us funds, and I guess he is Premier League quality. But it brings me on to this question: what players do you see in this squad who will this is it'll only be like a prediction really, but who will make a massive step up to the Premier League next season? As we mentioned, Cantwell did that from the 18-19 season. He came up to the 19-20 season and actually looked like a suited Premier League player. But what other players do you think could have this time round?
Yeah, well, it's a tough question because you can't mention, the Pukki, the Wendia, because they've already, proved themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we've not actually signed that many more players since we went down last year. So I'm just thinking about it. I don't know if Norwich have this optimism in Jacob, but I think that he could. I think he could be the shock package if he actually gets the game time in his natural position as centre mid.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I felt there was one when I was thinking about it. There was one that I thought, which was Kieran Dow. He hasn't proved it too much, but I think maybe he could. It's obviously like hit and miss whether he will do. We haven't really seen him too much this season. But yeah, he could be one that could surprise us, and Plaheta as well. He's obviously been out of the picture completely. But if they kind of hit down with summer training, preseason training, and see that potential in him, obviously there must be a potential there. If not, the club would have never signed him. But he could then start next season and play. And if anything goes by, he's fast as well, and that just suits everything about the Premier League, like its tempo and that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Dow Lamplacheta here. I think Dow, the Derby game, he looked really good, but I think his career has been filled with, a lot of loans and are not reaching the level that he can. So
Yeah.
now that he's got a team like Norwich, because he's at Everton, but they didn't give him the time. He'll probably have the time to prove himself, and he might be able to, hit that form of his life, and really show himself as a player. But I'm just not sure. I can't predict that because it's just so hit or miss.
Yeah.
But I think with Placheta, in my personal opinion, I feel like he needs a loan.
Yeah.
Maybe Championship, maybe somewhere abroad. I don't know, but it just doesn't look. It just doesn't look right when he plays. And I think we spent a couple of million or like 3 million or something on him. So it's not, that's a decent amount of money to spend on a player. So as you were saying, they must have seen something in him.
Yeah.
So, but I think Onel Hernandez, he's fast. I think he offers it more than Placheta does. So I'd rather see Hernandez taking up place on the bench next year than Placheta, to be honest.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I hope Hernandez gets more of a chance and something happens to him. I've been begging for him to score for a long while now, just because that would do him the world of good. And yeah, he's definitely still got it. I mean, when we were up last time, we lost it, but that game against Man United at home, he was probably like one of the standout players for us. And obviously scored that goal. We like completely outskilled and got through the defence and scored. But I think he can still surprise us.
I think he's a player that embodies what you want as a
Yeah.
Norwich fan for a player playing for your team. The amount of passion that lad's got is just incredible.
Yeah.
You know, he scored, 4-0 down against Man United, and he comes and he bangs one in, and he's going around like, he's just won the World Cup. I think that's great. I think that's exactly what you want to see from your players, to be honest. So, yeah, I'd like to see him feature a bit more next season.
Yeah, you're right. That passion is what we need, especially if it's going to be quite like a bit of a dull season to start or end with, Yeah, actually, I'm going to do this now. Before I forget, we've got some questions on Twitter. We're going to ask, go through them now. Some of them we might have covered already, but I'll do the first one from a mate of mine, Dyson_Harley, at Dyson_Harley. Harley said, who do you think will go in the summer? And if they do, if they go, who do you think... wait, I'm going to read this again. Who do you think will go in the summer? And if they do go, who do you think will have enough to stay? Do you think they will have enough to stay up? Yeah. So if we have these players go, do you think we'll still have enough to go? And who do you think will go? Bit of a tense that one.
Yeah. I think it's a good question. I think it's one we've touched on. In my personal opinion, I don't see any of the players that are essential to our promotion this season. I don't think they'll go. I think players like Aaron's, they owe it to the club. I think when we picked him up, he wasn't even he'd taken a year off football. So, and now he'll be back playing in the Premier League. So I think Aaron's, Buendia, Cantwell, I think they all owe it to us to stay and give it a really, really good go this season. And I think they will all go at the end of next season, whatever happens. But I don't see any big players going imminently.
Yeah, I know what I mean, and he also put a last one. I know why he's putting this. You probably do as well, but he put, "What do you think of Robbie Savage?" Do you know why that is? Like, I think I know why.
Yes, but... I do. I've seen all the stuff. I think it's a little bit unprofessional, to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
He's completely ignoring what we are as a club and what we've done. And, he's got a job that I'm sure thousands of people like me and you up the country would love to do.
100%.
Working in football, it'd be incredible. I think he's got this job, which he's got quite easily because of his playing career. And I think, it's just not really on. But I believe he was the player when we played Derby about 10 years ago. He walked off really slowly, and then Simeon Jackson scored a goal with his thigh, and we won 3-2. So if that was Robbie Savage, I hope you enjoyed that.
I think it is. I do. I think I remember that. Yeah, I remember the goal from Jackson. I think it's like you said, unprofessional. I think he lives in like Blackburn or something like that, so it's a far way down. But I don't like. For me, I can live in Bournemouth and have a day in Newcastle, an away day, and I find that great. I don't know about you, but I love the road trips. Like longer road trips. You're coming back if you lose. It's not as great, but it's still a good day out in some ways.
I think especially when we're in the. He's saying this whilst we're in a pandemic, and there's only apart from club staff, there's probably only about 5 to 10 people each game that are actually getting the opportunity to watch these games. Which you've got in Norwich, you've got over 20,000 fans are dying to be there to watch that game. So even if you're not enjoying your commute to Norwich or whatever to cover these games, obviously he hasn't done this season, he'll do it next season. Just it's not all about you. It's a lot of people. You're in a privileged position. A lot of people want to be in that position, and I just don't think it's it's not really on, in my opinion. But
yeah, I get that. And Yeah, it's not on at all, and you know, I hope there's many games next season, and I hope there's like loads of games like in the FA Cup where he has to come down and televise it or like BT or whatever. I want that from him. I'll do the next one. Is from your other co-owner of the society, at Josh NCFC 27. You might have seen this already, to be fair, but he put who's your guys' player of the season and why is it Lucas Rip? Is it anyone other than Rib? Like, it's right if you have to say it, you know. I might cut this out, I might not, you know.
No, you're not cutting this out. I mean, I did say Puente was my player of the season earlier, but I have voted for Rib as my player of the season.
Just big up, yeah.
And if you haven't, what are you doing with your lives? Let's be honest. Come on.
Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. I was gonna say, any Norwich fans that don't know, I'm doing this for the club now, but like, yeah, they put like I think there's a link early they put out where like you can vote for your fan of the season and also player of the season. Chris and Jack Reeve are in there. I voted for them. I went for Rip as well. But I'll leave a link for that if you guys want to do that. You know, I'm helping you guys out.
Yeah.
We've got one now. We've got two from at Saucy Ollie Skip. He's obviously in the society as well. He's in the group chat. He put, do you think we will manage to get Skip next season?
Oh, I think it's dependent on the Tottenham manager. But even that, I could see him coming back because Mourinho says that he wants him to, you know, play next season. But I think a lot of Spurs fans are missing the fact that Ollie Skip was playing at the top of the Championship in this team. You know, if he was playing for like someone like Millwall, then that's a chance for him to prove his quality more. But I'm not saying he's got an easy ride because he definitely hasn't. But he's not. He has shown his quality, but I think Spurs fans don't understand that the leap that he will face if he comes playing for Norwich next season. Because I'm seeing a lot of them going, I'll play him instead of Harry Winks. I don't think Harry Winks is the best player around.
Nah.
But you've got to realise, if you're a Tottenham fan, that he's probably not at the level that you think he's at. And I think if Mourinho goes, then I think he could come back quite easily.
Yeah.
Because a lot of a manager will go, well, look at this great development season he's had, and we'll give him another one in the Premier League. And then, you know, he's still young. He's like 20. So give him another year and he'll be playing in the Prem. And then you look at him in a year's time and then they'll decide what they want to do with him. So to answer the question, you know, I can see it happening. It's just there's a lot of circumstances, I think. You know, a lot of things have got to fall into place. And I don't know if those will happen at the moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mentioned this on a mate of mine, Dave, at the Unmuted Voice, his podcast. I believe I think I mentioned it or I've talked to him before off camera. But I've said that I've looked at Tottenham this season and said there's been some struggle in strength-wise in the midfield and defence. I felt they should have got a centre half. I actually thought Sergio Ramos there would have been, like, on loan, would have been phenomenal. Like, I actually would. But I feel like in that case, with Skip, I feel that is an important asset for them next season. So I don't know if he will come back or not. Obviously, I don't think he'll come back permanently. I don't think that will happen because he is Tottenham through and through. And we do then have to obviously pay a price for him. But maybe on loan again in the Premier League. I think they'd be down for that.
Yeah, I think you've got to look at the player as well, because we're all talking about the clubs, but what would Ollie Skip rather do? Would he rather sit on the bench for Tottenham and have an occasional appearance? Or would he be probably play every week at Norwich? So I think if you're looking at him, you know, he looks like he seems like a really passionate lad. So I think it's not about the money, it's about playing. I think if you said to him next season, you know, would you like the occasional appearance at Tottenham or would you like to play full, all the time at Norwich, then he would pick us. But that's not, you know, it's not entirely in his hands, is it? So
yeah, especially like it's actually quite interesting now, but especially like if he probably did watch the Spurs documentary because Danny Rose on that he hates not having the game time. And he hates Ben Davies starting over him, and obviously they've got Regulion now. I think he's out injured at the moment though for them. And he's seen how it's affected Danny Ings, and it hasn't affected him that great. You know, he had a loan move to Newcastle, it didn't work well. So maybe if he goes next season, if they've got obviously still have Højbjerg and different players like that, and what have you, then he might go, yeah, I want to be back with Norwich just for game time, and maybe that will be the case. So it looks promising.
I think you've got to look at the way football is these days, and I think a lot of players, your career can almost be, especially if you're at a big team, your career can always be, you know, it can be made or it could be, you know, thrown away from a really early age. And if he sits there on a bench and then they look at him in a year's time and they go, oh, he's not, you know, he's not as great as we think he was, it's because he hasn't been playing, and it could have, you know, negative effects for his career. And I was watching the Champions League the other day, and I can't remember who it was, but it was a player for Bayern, and he was 21, I think, and they talked about him having his debut recently, and I was thinking, Max Aarons, he's like 21 or whatever, and he's had over 100 appearances already in his career so far, so it doesn't always benefit you to sit on the bench of a big team, and I think that's important. Yeah,
that's definitely to remember. At Saucy Ollie Skip also said, why is Emi Buendia the greatest Argentine to ever live?
Ooh,
Jacob, you got all the questions today, mate.
Jesus. Well, he's basically like Jesus, honestly.
25th of December, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why he won't be called up for the Argentine national team soon, because I can't think of many better Argentinian players. There's some bloke here who plays in the league, I don't know, but I don't know who he is, so he's not, you know, Buendia must be
yeah, I know what you mean. I mentioned him on a previous video. Atletico Madrid. He's at I forgot. No, there is actually. Oh, what's his name? It's gonna annoy me now. Obviously, another one I could pick out is Lamela. I think he's still playing in the squad. I'm not too sure.
I think Buendia's better than Lamela.
Yeah, I 100%. I think that too.
I don't know who the manager of Argentina is, but he needs to be seriously considering Buendia, and that is deadly serious. You know, there's no jokes in that, saying that. Yeah,
no, you're right. I'm just checking for this play. Angel Correa, that's it. Plays on the right now and then. That's questionable at that point. But even still, you get stuff like friendlies and that. So give Emi the chance, see how he does and performs. And what is he, 25, 26 right now, Buendia? 24 maybe?
I think he's 24.
Yeah, so he's at that age where they need to kind of say, okay, sooner or later, we perhaps should be thinking about giving him national team.
Yeah, and I don't know who did the article. I think I want to say it was Michael Bailey, but it was somebody recently.
Was it about Buendia?
And it was about Buendia, and it was about
Michael
how
Bailey
Messi spoke to him.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it Michael Bailey?
So I know Michael Bailey done a section on him. There was another one. I think it was the EDP. I think done it, but yeah, I read that same one.
Yeah, it was something like that, and it said he was going to go for playing for Spain, and he went for Argentina because Messi had a little word. But I think Argentina have got to lock him down, because I watch a bit of Spanish football, and they called up Pedri, who's been playing for Barcelona for about half a season now.
Yeah.
And he's played for the national team, and he's like 17. So I feel like he could get a game in their national team, and I think he's a great player. I think Buendia, you might be having a little look, you don't know, because every player wants to play for their national team, and if your national team's not going to give it to you, then and he can play for Spain, then he's gonna try and do that, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, I remember, I read that. I think it might have been the EDP, I don't know, but I think it just shows how Messi is desperate for that World Cup, isn't he? Or more silverware for Argentina. That's definitely needed, and it'd be brilliant, Buendia there, and then Buendia does the opposite to him and says, all right, come to Norwich, Messi, and that's how it happens, But last one here though, by Ben at Fark Life NCFC. He said, what is your favourite season of all time / your lifetime? So just from from a Norwich perspective, or from England fan, or whatever have you?
You go first this time.
Okay. What's your of all time? I'd probably say 18-19. That's only one to like. 14-15 was good, obviously, for the playoff. But 18-19 to recent date, because obviously went up in the Premier League, but also before then, the World Cup was good and the summer of it. So kind of, I know that was technically not in the same season, but it was good as like the run up before that season started in the Championship, and also like there was obviously loads of doubt on the line that we weren't going to do it. Season before then, Ipswich finished above us, so yeah, it was just nervy times, but it turned out to be a great season.
Yeah, I think as if I'm talking solely about Norwich, I don't want to not answer the question, but I don't think you can pinpoint one season. I've been going to games for 10 years. I think obviously, as you said, 18-19. I don't know if I've ever seen a Norwich team play so well. That was pretty incredible. But I also I started watching Norwich as a season ticket holder when we were in League One, and I'm not saying that promotion to the Prem that led from that. I'm not saying we played the best football or anything, but I think the circumstances of going all the way from League One up to the Premier League in consecutive seasons is pretty special as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think when we were in the Premier League one season, was it 12-13? I think I like that because I was like like young teenager at the time. It was nice to see us in the Premier League with the likes of Bale back then, obviously Aguero, Prime Aguero, Hazard, what have you. Yeah, that was good. But that's a good question to end off with. One question I will end off with today to ask you. Very early yet to predict this, but really quick. No. You know what's coming, don't you? Where are we finishing next season in the Premier League, and also by how many points? So earlier you said 20th last time up with 21 points, wasn't it? What about this next season though in the Premier League? This is super early. I know that.
It's so early, but I don't want to. I'll do the Norwich thing of being overly optimistic and then going, "Oh, we got relegated," but being surprised, even though it was definitely going to happen. Because I think I said 14th last season we were going to come, and obviously that didn't go too well. So where should I say? The thing is, it's really hard to compare because no team has done it like us in recent years. Like you can't compare us to Leeds or Villa, or even Sheffield United when they stayed up because they had that backing. So I'm gonna say because I can't say we're gonna get relegated. That's just that's poor. I'm gonna say we're gonna scrape a 16th. We're gonna go for a 16th place finish. And we get let's say 40 points is safe.
Yeah, that's always a margin. I'd say. It's hard with a point tally because points obviously like each season itself is mad. Like so when Man City won it by like phenomenal points. You also had like Liverpool finishing on 98 points last season. So points is a bit hard to answer, but I'd probably go. I'll go one higher. I'll go 15th, and I'll go like 42 points. Nothing much different, but yeah, it's hard to answer with a point tally bit, but yeah, at least we're up. Well, at least we're doing the normal Norwich thing and saying we'll go up when we don't, So
I'll ask you a question as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Timu Pukki, 11 goals last time. Toe injury in December. Some people would say it ruined his season. Probably I would, but some people are a bit more cynical and say, he's just not cut out. How many does he score next season if he gets no injuries?
You know what? So what? I mean, no, I'm not gonna think about how old he is. I know he obviously is getting a bit on.
31.
He's 31. Okay.
Yeah.
That shouldn't affect anything though.
Golf every year.
That shouldn't affect everything though. I think people might be surprised with how well he could do, and I think he'll go. No injuries. I think he might get 14 goals next season, if we've still got this same foundation of players around us and how we play.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit high, but definitely more, obviously more than 11. But I think he might still surprise us. Yeah. Wait, go on.
I'm gonna go for the same as where we said we're gonna finish. I think 16 goals.
Yeah.
Definitely doable.
Yeah.
You know, he was injured in December last time, and our form was dreadful from since the year started that year. So I think it's doable.
Yeah, without a doubt. And did you real quickly? Did you think he was going to do this well this season?
That's a really good question, because Pukki, if you look at his career and you look at his goals scored for different clubs, it's not always been smooth sailing. I don't think he'll leave Norwich until maybe even retire at Norwich. I just think he's never had this form at any club ever. So I think Pukki, he seems quite a confidence-based player, because I heard myself last season saying a lot of times, I hope he gets a goal, because I feel like that will really boost his confidence and he might be able to then start banging a few more in.
Yeah.
So I think with the relegation, I think they probably accepted it quite early. He would have accepted that. He would have seen that we've kept all these players. We kept Daniel as well. I think I don't know if I saw him scoring this many goals, but I definitely think I always think he's a good striker in the Championship, especially with the way we play football. So I would have put him down for probably at least 20 goals before the season started. But now he's capturing Ivan Toney, and he could. What did he get when he got promoted? 28, 29? He could definitely do that this
28, I believe. Yeah.
What's he on, 25?
Yeah. Right now, 25. I think it is. Yeah.
So he's probably going to beat it, which is incredible, really.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I hope he does. Obviously deserves it in that, and I always think his work rate in games off, better than a lot of other players. He'll run up and down the field all day. What a player!
You see that Hugo coming on, and he's jogging at players, and it's nothing against Hugo. It's just a testament to how good Pukki is. You see him in the 80th minute, and he's still sprinting after these defenders. And you're like, Jesus, what are you feeding him? He's still going.
Yeah, and I hope and I think it will happen next season, where you get games like, say we play Chelsea, we lose 3-1, but the one goal is from Pukki. We then have someone like Southampton in the next game, and he gets a hat-trick, let's say, because that one goal at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea will mean a lot of him, and we've obviously seen that before. Liverpool 4-1 lose, he gets one goal, and then after that, a hat-trick comes along. So one goal can do many other wonders and bring many other goals to
100%,
that player.
yeah.
So yeah, positive notes and feeling good for the season to come, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you for coming on today, Jacob. And like I said, I feel like I say this on behalf of everyone on that group chat. Thank you for creating, you and Josh, such a brilliant group chat it's been this season. The dog bollocks on Twitter, trust me, guys. Honestly, that's a good society that we got there. Thank you for coming on, mate. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, then please do be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Completely free, I swear. I might have hit 100 already, but I think I'm like 1 off 100 right now. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe to show your support. And also comment down your thoughts of the current season that we've had, or predictions on next season and thoughts on next season. Pleasure of watching all of our predictions for the Premier League next season and for it to come in the 21 to 22 season. You definitely also need to check out Jacob's channel, Nought to 90. He's already done one podcast on there. That was with, I forget who was...
it's Chris Medland.
He's
an F1 journalist. Hopefully we'll get some more guests on soon, but not easy.
I believe I won't announce what we've... I won't announce this, but with me and Jacob, we've got we're gonna do a podcast on his channel soon, and that'll be a big one. So yeah, be sure, all eyes on that. for definitely. So link in the description, click on that. I think that is from me. We're going up, or certainly we would have when this has been released. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Hope you guys also have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Me and my guys too groovy, and we still get grungy. Dreadlocks, little Uzi. Nothing but G's round here, so Gucci. Them man, they're gazy, don't live no movies.